Hello again, we're back in the pond. Need to do some digging now that I've sorted out the digger's over there. As you may recall in the video before, I had to change a couple of core plugs, which I thought was a bigger issue, but luckily it wasn't. And now digger's working perfectly. I could do with giving it a bit of a service, but that can wait for a few weeks. So anyway, now what I need to do is digging. And this is our pond, and I'll quickly show you a few things. This is the dam, which is a great big stone wall, and it's about must be about 10 feet deep to the bottom. These are all the various bits of debris that we've found in the that's the sluice gate, which is like a plug hole which goes off down there and comes out somewhere else. The left hand side, the stream down there and then goes down here, so I'll just quickly show you this. So the stream comes down, runs along the valley, and it goes down that tunnel, and again it goes underneath this field and pops out there and just carries on its routes down to the River Derwent. But as you can see from the shape, letting all the water run, any sort of water that's laying around, that's coming down the middle and going down the sluice gate. And then this side is kind of high. That sort of there is roughly the ground level. This is a ramp that I've made so we can get in and out, although can only really get to there, then it gets too boggy and just gets stuck. The digger's not too bad, especially now all this bit's dry, and with the timber mats, there's one over there, and the digger's actually sat on 3 timber mats. With the timber mats it's really good. I can kind of go anywhere, which is great. Which means the digger can go anywhere, but the dumper truck can't. And at the moment, what I've been doing is, in fact, let's go over there and we'll have a look. I built up this bit just to stop it leaking through. Here's some ducks. Hello. We put this plastic down to try and stop the stream water seeping into the body of the pond, you know, into all this silt, to try and keep it dry. And it seems to be, well, I think it's working. I mean, obviously the water's going to get past it and go underneath and things like that. Oh, some more ducks up there. Oh, hey, duck. So this bit here isn't too bad. I can kind of move around with the digger on here without the mats for majority of this. This bit in the middle is obviously very boggy because that's where all the water is draining down to the end over there, and that side just there, all along there, is fairly boggy, but the upper sort of lip isn't too bad. And what I'm doing at the moment, right at the end, mighty digger that's doing all right. There's the stream again. Some of this plastic lining that we've put down, when there's been storms, it sort of gets all torn up and moved around a bit, but it's not too bad, it's okay. So this end, to help try and get rid of some of the silt, we're going to build up this end. And what I plan to do, I mean it may all change, is to make another entrance up there, because that's where that wall is, just there. That's the top of the, well, the other side of that wall is the lane, and it's only sort of 6 inches lower than the top of the wall. So if we took the coping stones off the top of the wall and built up all of this ground with all of that soil, and expose more of the dam wall, and obviously we need to dig it out anyway. So what I've been doing is, with the digger, sort of digging bits and then making a pile, moving it, making a pile, and it's very tedious. It's effective, but it just takes so long. I'm just doing it a bucket at a time, more or less. Let me just show you a bit more down here. This is the bit that's sort of built up a bit already. There's that other duck swimming around, a bit bored. You can give me a hand if you want. This thing I've made is hopefully a silt trap. My knowledge of silt traps is pretty small, but I've read up a bit about it and I kind of know what the idea is, because as the water comes zooming down the stream, which is narrow and relatively quick, it carries all the silt with it. Water comes along the stream, and then when all this is a big pond, the water will slow down, and any silt that's in the water will obviously go to the bottom and it'll build it with silt. That's what all this is. This is, I don't know, 80 years worth of silt or something, probably more than that. Because it's a big body of water, the water slows down and the silt builds up. What this is like a little pond at the beginning, and this is there for the water will come through the stream there, fill this up, and then kind of carry on through this narrow bit, and then it'll open up sort of just in front of where the digger is to the main body of the pond. So the idea is that this bit will catch the first lot of silt, because this will be where it actually slows down first and then hopefully drops the silt in this bit. In theory, I can get here with the digger and every year or a couple of years dig it out, put it in the dumper truck and take it away, or I don't know, spread it out, do something with it. So be able to manage the silt and get rid of the silt as it builds up bit by bit, and hopefully keep it in hand, which would be brilliant. So that's the idea with that. And this is quite a nice little secluded area, but I'm going to build this up a little bit more with some more of the fill from over there. Anyway, today's little project is to make this a lot easier. It'd be great if I could position the digger down there and then fill up the dumper truck, come chugging up here with the dumper truck and dump it, and then go back, because the dumper truck will hold 10 digger bucket loads, or it might be a bit more than that. So obviously I could fill the dumper truck, come along here, dump it, go back, get another 10 loads, and just keep doing that. It'd be really quick. The problem is the dumper will get stuck. It might not be so bad just here because it's pretty dry. A little bit further down there it's a bit wet, but sort of where the digger is and just here it's not too bad. What would make it really easy would be to have a tracked dumper, which you can get, but they're not that old, so therefore they're not that cheap. So old ones from the oldest one I've seen are from the 90s or mid 90s. A sort of 2 or 3 ton tracked dumper is about £5,000–6,000, which is far too much money for what I would need it for, and I wouldn't have any other use for it, so I would simply use it and then there'd be no use for it. So I don't really want to do that. I could rent one, but they're quite a lot of money to rent, and the biggest problem with renting is you're obviously tied into doing the work when you've rented it, because if you rent it for a week and it's chucking it down in rain for that week, not really going to get much done, and you've wasted the rental. So buying one would be a lot more practical for me, but it's just a big outlay, so I'm trying to go and try and force myself not to do that. So what I might do now is, like I say, just here isn't too bad, there is a bit boggy, there's quite, well, just there where the dumper truck isn't so bad, but down here but what I'm thinking is, what I'm going to try and do, just walk over here a bit, is this edge on this side, here's really dry, this would be all right, but just here, there's dry, and you can't really tell, but there's a really big steep slope going down there, and then it's really wet there. But what I'm planning to do is, with the digger, sort of level this off a bit, try and make a dry track through here, so that I can get the dumper to there, and then try and drive backwards and forwards to there where I need to start digging stuff out. And maybe that'll work, maybe it won't, I don't know. If I can get the dumper across here, I mean, it's a beautiful day today, been sunny for the last couple of days, and I think it's going to be sunny for the next few days. If I was going to do it, now's the time to do it, to try and move the dumper from there where it is to down here. And so yeah, if I can make this drivable, that would be good. So I'm going to do that now with the digger, try and start to make this a bit more level and use the dry stuff. Then what I think I'll do, if I can get that far, then I might try deflating the tyres a bit on the dumper truck. As I'm sure you know, when you're in, not in a four-wheel drive vehicle, in any vehicle, to increase traction, if you deflate the tyres, you get a bigger footprint of the tyre. Not just the width, also the length. So you get much more flotation on the ground. You don't just dig in and sink. So but obviously this is a dumper truck. It's not, you know, the weight, the whole thing I don't know, probably weighs 2 tons. When the bucket's full, that's another 2 tons. So I don't want to deflate the tyres too much, else they'll just get squashed and they'll come off the rim. But they need to be able to take a load of weight in the front. But we'll see. I'll try and get the ground to be flat first, and then we'll have a look at deflating the tyres on the dumper a bit. So yeah, so that's the plan. So, right, I better start doing some digging. Well, unfortunately, one of the tracks has come off. This does sometimes happen when it's in uneven ground, and I was kind of stuck just here, and I was trying to pull myself out because it's this side's really boggy just down here, that side's really firm, but it's on quite a tilt, and I was trying to pull myself up, and this track came off, which does happen when it's on uneven ground, and unfortunately it takes ages to put it back on again. I'm getting a bit better at it, but so anyway, for the next hour or so, that's my little job, which is a nuisance. Right, well, I better crack on. Right, I've got all the tools for doing the job, which is basically a spade, a great big metal bar, a 17mm socket, and the grease gun. The theory is that the end bit, that there's like a sprocket there that is on a slider. The sprocket's fallen out at the moment, but it just sits there. That the slider piston that it's on has to be pushed in, which means undoing. There's like a little hole there. There's a grease nipple there that you have to undo. Push that slider in, put that idler back on, then lift the track back on, and then pump up the grease that pushes the ram out, that gets the track being taut again. So it's not too tricky in theory. Of course, the problem is the piston's quite seized, very difficult to push it back in. So I've done this a few times before, especially on this track. To push the piston in, I try and use the bucket, the arm of the digger with a great big metal bar to push it in, but it's a bit sketchy and it doesn't always work. I'll do this on time lapse. Hopefully I'll get it done. I might have to stop for a coffee halfway through and sort of psych myself up, but I'm in my shirt for the first time in, I don't know, months and months and months. I haven't got a hat and a coat on, which is great because it's a beautiful day. It's about 18 or 19 degrees today, which is fantastic. So it's quite a pleasant way to spend the afternoon messing around doing this, even though it's a bit frustrating. It's, I think, a worse places to be. Anyway, right, I better crack on with this, otherwise it's not going to get done. So time lapse, a go-go. I've got the track back on and I've got myself out of this little predicament here. And I'm just contemplating what to do, because let me show you, that was where I was just stuck with the digger, and because it's so uneven, it's not very good for the tracks. Well, plus I might sink and all sorts of bad things because it's so boggy just there. So I've got a couple of choices. I could go all the way around, all the way back. There's the mats are there, and then with the mats I could come along. This is actually dry, but this bit's really wet, and there's a sort of gully going through there. I could put the mats down here, track across here, and then all that bit is really dry, and I could dig that up from there and put it here so that I could fill this bit in. That's a lot of work. So what I might do instead is struggle and try and come back a bit, back to where I got stuck. Just try and dig some of this and see if I can just sneak across, maybe use that mat if I could reach it, put that mat there, and then get to here. And then once I'm here, I could reach all that and move that along there. I think I'll try and do that now. Time lapse again. we'll take it right down. Whatever that is will do. Yep, it's too soft. Hopefully I can get this out with the digger. Look how deep that is. Didn't quite work out as we liked, did it? The plan was to make a nice little roadway down this side, which was a bit soft and dodgy. I mean, it was pretty tricky for the digger to get along here. God, that's a deep hole. Poor little dumper. Anyway, that's not going to work, so back to the drawing board. I think I don't quite know what the plan is now. A track dumper, it would be ideal, but they're just a little bit too much money, so I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, this afternoon's exercise was to see if we could get the dumper truck around there. Because it's so soft and sketchy here, we can't really. I don't want to spend ages making a firm road because it just takes so long, and even then it might be soft anyway, so it could all be for nothing. I think it's tracked vehicles only in here now, so I'll probably just have to carry on with the digger, which is a bit time consuming, but beautiful daylight today. You know, it's quite a nice way to spend the afternoon. So thanks for watching that. Nearly watching me tip over the dumper truck and put the track back on the digger, which is, there's always something to do. Nothing goes smoothly. Right, see you next time.